But we start off, as we often do, with the big story on this show, and that is indeed the world of softball. We are here inside the final week of the regular season. The Wildcats of Northwestern are one win or one Nebraska loss away from clinching the Big Ten title, their first since '08, first outright since '06. Northwestern's won 7 Big Ten titles in program history, 2 under Kate and Carol Drohan. Big Ten tourney starts up next week on Thursday. So let's bring in the Wildcat head coach, Kate Drohan, good enough to join us now. Let me start with kind of the big picture earlier in the season, Kate. You guys got off to the best start ever with you as the head coach. How come?
Well, I think we have tremendous leadership. I can point directly to Rachel Lewis and our 8 seniors. The work they've done since our first day in the fall has been tremendous, and you know, their maturity has allowed us to simply focus on one day at a time, and it's really put us in the position we're in today.
What's the best way to describe that group of seniors that you have?
Well, like I said, they're mature, right? They've grown up tremendously while they've been here on campus, but they're also really, really hardworking. You know, I've never once had to coach effort, and what a gift that is for a coach. But the second piece is they're really fun. They love the game. They love each other. And so when you have that kind of feel at practice every day, it makes that hard work just a joy to do.
I want to get to that fun aspect of your team in just a sec, but I want to follow up on the hard working. How much can you tell that when you're recruiting a high school junior or a senior? How much can you actually get a grasp of that specific aspect of who you're bringing into your program?
I think it's the most important thing you can learn about a future player, how much they love the game and how hard they're willing to work for it, especially when they maybe hit a bump in the road during their career where they might be struggling. You really learn a lot about someone, and we knew that about this group coming in. They came from great high school programs, great travel ball teams, so they were really prepared to step foot on our campus and go.
What was working so well when you had that 14-game winning streak?
Well, I think it starts on the mound. We have tremendous pitchers on our staff, a complete staff, and Michelle Gascoigne does a great job with them. But they simply put us in a position to win every game. And our offense has been very dynamic in a sense of we've had different people step up during different times in different ways. So it wasn't like we played perfect, but we were able to find a way to win, and that taught us really how to finish some games early on.
I know there's not a negative side to winning all those games in a row, but is there something that you as a head coach have to be cautious of, whether it's a change in mentality or expectations or anything else when you guys are on such a great run like that?
Well, absolutely. I mean, when you're working through a season like ours, which is so long, you're continuing to work to identify what the obstacles are or what the distractions can be. And sometimes a streak can be a big distraction where they're focused on that instead of the work in front of them or how to go through our prep for that week to get ready for our opponent. So we just really try to communicate a lot as a group and continue to identify ways that we can really have a narrow focus on how we can get better each day as a team.
You talked about Rachel Lewis earlier. Where's her power come from?
Rachel Lewis has an incredible work ethic in how she trains. The discipline, and that starts with nutrition, her recovery, and then what she's able to really do in the weight room. So her explosiveness and power, I think it's talent, but I also think it's her tremendous work ethic. And she loves the work. She loves feeling strong. She loves feeling fast. And this year, what I've been really impressed with in terms of her approach at the plate has been, it's been really simple, and she hasn't tried to do too much. She understands the pitches she can do damage on. She understands the pitches she needs to take, how we can just get bases so that we can get her on base and maybe have her steal a base or two. So just a really good balance in her game right now.
Did you know when you recruited her she could be this good at the plate?
I have tremendous belief in Rachel Lewis, but still, the way she's built her career here. I mean, she came in as a freshman and dominated. Yeah. And she's had incredible drive to continue to get better every day. So that's been something that I've been really impressed with.
I ask about the recruitment because she told me a couple weeks ago exactly where she was when she committed to you. Do you remember this?
I don't remember where she was. I remember where I was.
Where were you?
I was in Anderson Hall, and we knew that she could really dominate and make a tremendous impact on our program.
Okay, you were in a healthier spot than she was. She was in a Taco Bell parking lot.
That's probably the last time she's had Taco Bell.
Well, that's what's funny to me was in your earlier answer, you said one of the things that impressed you about her is nutrition. And I think that's such an interesting dynamic in sports in general, Kate. How has nutrition for college athletes changed now versus back when you started as a head coach?
I think when you think about the development of our women on campus, the education, the understanding about what their nutritional needs are, and it doesn't mean you need to eliminate all the fun things we like to eat, but it's about the balance, it's about what they need the night before, what they need pregame, what they need during a game. And then couple that with, okay, let's really dial in and see how we can manage our sleep, manage our time management, and then you build in academics with that. So there's a real holistic approach that we take here at Northwestern that I think really shows up on game day.
Do you remember when you felt that aspect of sports changing? I mean, looking back, in the pandemic when they ran the Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance, you could see the guys like drinking a beer right after a game or something, and like that doesn't happen anymore. There's pictures of, the first Super Bowl, guys were drinking pop and having a cigarette at halftime. When in the last handful of years do you think that started to change and people really started focusing on nutrition?
From my experience, I would say the last decade is when we've really seen the resources at Northwestern really jump to say, hey, this can make a difference. Not only for them winning ball games while they're in college, but also building really healthy lifelong habits. And then you add the mental health aspect of it. That's huge in our program right now. And, we're constantly talking about it, and we're surrounding them with resources. So I'm just really proud of the way Northwestern has kind of led the charge there.
One of your other players I got a chance to talk to earlier this spring was Jordan Rudd. Where has she improved the most?
Jordan Rudd, well, let me just talk about Jordan Rudd when she came here, right? Really, really high softball IQ. Loves the game, loves watching the game, and I love talking the game with her. And then as she became sort of, our anchor, she's caught over 1,000 innings over the last 4 years. She's been so durable, but she's so competitive, and that's why I think you see her RBI numbers where they are, both this season and across her career. When the game's on the line, she wants the bat in her hands. And so to have that kind of person in the dugout, to have the kind of person behind the plate, she elevates everyone around her.
When I asked her who doesn't get enough attention on her team, she said Maeve and Nikki deserve it. Who do you think doesn't get enough attention on your team?
I think Jordan's right. I think in terms of our everyday players, I think Nikki Cochran has been so steady for us. In not a very flashy kind of way. Her power numbers are up this year, but if you look at how she's improved base running, defensively, and just how she's able to extend at bats and extend innings to get, in the heart of our order there, it's been huge. But Maeve Nelson has had some absolute heroic moments for us on the field. But more so, you see her energy, and she's kind of that connector for all of us between her and Skylar on the field. They create what we call our vibe, and that's something that's really been our motor and our energy on the field.
I'm told there's a Drohan dictionary. When did that start?
Oh, that's come and gone through the years. I don't get to see it very often. There are times where I may say something during a game and during practice, and they all look at each other like, oh, there it is. Yep, we're going to find a window to play this game. So there are a lot of things that I think Carol and I say that we get. It's all good fun, I'd say.
No, it definitely seems out of fun. Give me an example of something that would be in the Drohan dictionary.
Oh man, well, like I just said, like anytime it starts to rain, we'll be waiting to pull the tarp, and I'm like, oh, guys, I think I see a window, and it works, So it's just a way for us to communicate, and when you can really dial it in with a team and you have that kind of communication and that understanding, that's what really builds that trust. But it also makes it really fun.
There's another phrase that I heard a bunch when talking to your players. The phrase is, "What would Kate do?" How often do you hear that?
Yeah. I don't hear it very often, which is good. That's good. They could keep that in the locker room.
But that's pretty high honor, Kate. I mean, at some point when you have players in a coach relationship, there's nothing that says everyone has to really like you. Maybe they have to respect you, but they don't have to necessarily like you. And you have that with this team.
Well, I would say the same thing about them, and what I like about this group is that we can have really direct conversations. We as a staff listen, they as a team listen. So when we build our approach, or let's say just our plan for the week, we listen and we really want to know what they need. We want to know what they want, because we know they have one shot to have this experience in college. And we want to make it the very best possible, and we take great responsibility and pride in delivering on that.
We mentioned the tournament's coming up in a week. From what you've seen this year, give me an example of a team that you just don't want to see. You've just been impressed with the way they play ball.
Honestly, Mike, I think top to bottom across the conference, it's been awesome this season. The parity, and when we talk to our team, from the very first game of the Big Ten, our team really understood the amount of effort and work that it takes to win just one Big Ten game. So, I think every game is tough. I don't want to say I want to play this team and I don't want to play that team, because I think it's true of everyone.
Before we let you go, finish the sentence. This Wildcat team will have a great next few weeks if...
This team will have a great few weeks if we can stay where our feet are, and if we can just continue to work on, okay, what does the game need from me right now? How can we enjoy this moment? How can we continue the belief that we have in ourselves and the belief that we have in each other to simply go out and play hard?
We got Saturday and Sunday softball games with you here on the Big Ten Network, and then the tournament next week. Kate Drohan, great talking with you. Congrats on the great season. Good luck the rest of spring.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me, Mike, and go Cats.
To the men's tournament in lacrosse, semis happen tonight. Maryland is the 1 seed, Rutgers the 2. Your championship game is coming your way Saturday evening. Our guy, Mark Dixon, good enough to join us now. Mark, let's go down the line. I'm going to give a team. You tell me their biggest strength and also what could be the reason they don't win the tournament. Start off with the 1 seed, the Terps.
Maryland, it's balance and talent all over the field. There's really no weakness at any position for the Maryland Terrapins. And a weakness, if you're looking for it, I'm not quite sure anyone's really exploited it, but what could go wrong for Maryland is if they run into a hot face-off man and a hot goaltender on the other team that could stifle them and just keep them at bay.
Yeah, a hot goalie changes the entire dynamic of a sport like this for sure. The team they play is the 4 seed Johns Hopkins. Give me their positive and what could be their downfall.
I mean, listen, they've got nothing to lose. They lost to Maryland 2 weeks ago, 22-7 at home. So really, the Johns Hopkins Blue Jays playing with house money, and one of their strengths is resilience, as they demonstrated it last weekend after taking that drubbing by the Terps, coming back and beating Penn State at home to advance to the semifinal matchup. The downfall could just be maybe that Maryland housed them a couple of weeks ago in their own house. Does that still linger in the back of their mind? Maybe a little bit of doubt, a little bit of lack of self-confidence.
Yeah, their downfall could be they play Maryland.
You know what? I was going to say that, but I didn't want to be that obvious,
How about the 2 seed Rutgers? Positive, negative?
Positive for Rutgers is this is an experienced team. Senior day a couple weeks ago, when we covered the game against Penn State, 27 seniors. So sounds like Mike Hall's high school class altogether, but 27 seniors. So this is a veteran, experienced team. They've been through these battles before. With Rutgers, what I worry about, Mike, is inconsistency. Sometimes the Scarlet Knights seem to play down to their competition. I don't think that's going to be a problem this weekend as they face an Ohio State team this evening that is coming loaded for bear. And if chalk holds, they could be playing Maryland on Saturday for the championship.
And the final positive negative, the team you were alluding to, the Buckeyes, the 3 seed.
Ohio State is just a team with an attitude. They've got tremendous chips on their collective shoulders. When you talk about a team that didn't have a preseason All-American, picked to finish 5th in the conference preseason. This is an Ohio State team that feels like they've got a ton to prove. They're angry, and they want a spot in that Big Ten championship game. They want to win the tournament to get the automatic qualifier. If there's a weakness, it could be offensively at times. Ohio State disappears for stretches. Can't do that tonight against Rutgers. Can't do that on Saturday against whomever they're going to play in the championship game.
Let's go back to the top seed, the Terps, undefeated this season. What do you like when you watch them?
I love their balance, and I love their unselfish play. This is a team that has a 70-point scorer in Logan Wisnauskas. For my money, he will be a Tewaaraton finalist given annually to the best collegiate lacrosse player at the Division I level. But you have 6 other guys with 20 or more points. This really is a Maryland team that it doesn't care who gets the credit and who scores the points. And the man that gets them the ball repeatedly to do their damage is Luke Weirman at the faceoff got Big Ten Specialist of the Year. His game has just improved immensely to the point that if they handed out a most improved player in college lacrosse, I think it would be Luke Weirman, the face-off man for Maryland. So the combination of unselfishness on offense and a guy that just gets them the ball possession after possession after possession, that is what you really have to like about this Maryland team.
Yeah, it leads up to 18 goals a game in average for the Terp, which obviously helps you get some wins.
Pretty special. Yeah. Pretty darn special.
Speaking of wins, Rutgers ties the program record for wins. Head coach Brian Brecht, what did he do well this year?
I think balancing new players is what he did well. When you look at the graduations of Kieran Mullins, Adam Sherlin-Beatis, they lost a lot, and Connor Kurse, they lost a ton of talent. And then you have the injury preseason to David Sprott, arguably their top returning midfielder. But this is a Rutgers team that has 6 guys with 20 or more points, and they're very balanced as well. But you have a brand new starting attack unit in Ross Scott, in Mitch Bartolo, and Brian Cameron, a transfer from the University of North Carolina. You also throw in a transfer, Ronan Jacoby. Shane Knobloch comes back and builds on his Big Ten Freshman of the Year honors from 2021. And this is a team that just really hasn't skipped a beat when they graduate all that top-end talent. They just replenish. And not only that, Mike, but these are transfers that he's doing it with in large part, assimilating them to the culture, fitting them in with the dynamic of the team. That's not an easy task. And Brian Brecht and Rutgers have done that seamlessly.
I got to talk to Ross Scott the other day, and a likable guy, put together guy, but also you look at what he's done. He's a clutch player for them. Pretty
special guy when you take things into consideration. Again, calling the game a couple weeks ago in Piscataway, Penn State was up by 3 goals with about 8.5 minutes left to go in the game. And who ties it at the end of regulation? Ross Scott. Who bags the game winner in overtime? Ross Scott. Again, a graduated attack unit. Ross Scott was a role player last year, only had 9 goals and 5 assists from the midfield. What does he do this year? Gets handed the keys to the offense and is running the attack, and he has 57 points. Ross Scott is a dynamic player. He's fun to watch. He's a guy who has had to wait his turn, but man, he's gotten his turn and he's made the most of it. Really, really special player up in Piscataway.
And you brought this up earlier, but it sounds like a mistake. It sounds like you misspoke when you say 27 seniors. I mean, there are football teams with 85 players that don't have 27 seniors.
Welcome to COVID. You take into consideration the extra year granted by the NCAA for these student athletes and the pause in the season and yada, yada, yada. We could go down the line, but that's what COVID has created. And Rutgers, again, they've mined the transfer portal as well as anyone in the country. And you get that 27 seniors. I know for a fact that 8 are coming back for a 5th year, with another handful still deciding on their future or waiting for logistics or whatever. So these are really mature, experienced lacrosse teams that you have in the Big Ten. And Rutgers, 27 seniors, you know, wow. When I saw that number, I was like, Really? Are you sure this isn't the juniors and the seniors and maybe some sophomores thrown in there that are being celebrated a little bit early? But yeah, it's the COVID type of situation and guys deciding to take those fifth years.
Quick thought for you on the women's tournament. Rutgers having a great year historically. Maryland's your 1 seed. Is this wide open, or do you feel this is the Terps tournament to win?
You know, I think Maryland put a stamp on it a couple weeks ago when they knocked off Northwestern, and not only knocked them off, but did it in convincing fashion. But it's a different world at SHI Stadium. You've got the siren that goes off after goals. The Jersey crowd just hits a little different. So with this being sort of a home stretch for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, I mean, Cassidy Spillis and TT Neslansky, Melissa Lehman's done a wonderful job with this program. But I think you have to consider Maryland being the favorite. Northwestern is the defending champion. But it's that home cooking for Rutgers could serve them very, very well this weekend.
Semis on the men's side coming up this evening. Mark Dixon, always good talking with you, man.
Likewise, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so that women's lacrosse tournament happened in Friday and Sunday in Piscataway. Terps are the 1 seed, looking for their first Big Ten tourney title in 4 years. Northwestern's won the last 2. The Scarlet Knights will host, something they did back in 2015 for the inaugural one. Their head coach, Melissa Lehman, good enough to join us now. Melissa, how big a deal is it that you guys will be hosting this tournament?
We are so excited. I think very early on in the year, we talked about hosting this tournament. It was our goal, really driving us to be able to compete on our home turf. And so the girls are excited. We're fired up to be here in New Jersey and get a good turnout with all of the local fans.
This has been such a special year. You never had more wins in a regular season. Highest Big Ten tournament seed you guys ever had. What's been so special about this year?
I mean, this team really believes in each other, and they're fighters, and they're never out of a game. And we just keep getting better all year. I think that the team we have right now is very different from that first game early in February. And so this team has a lot of passion and a lot of fight, and that's really been driving us forward all year.
Where has it grown the most?
I've been really happy with the way our defense has come along and our goalkeeper, and just really having a lot of confidence back there and trusting each other. And defense is really about gelling and having the chemistry as a unit. And so I have a lot of big players on the defensive end led by Meg Ball. And they've just been doing a fantastic job for us. And as juniors, really taking this defense to another level.
Give me the unsung hero on your team.
I'd definitely say Jess Beneducci is one of those players on the defense that just gets it done for you in so many ways. She's a vocal leader out there, and she doesn't really always make those headlines with having those big defensive games, but we ask a lot of her, whether it's the rover of our zone or to be that matchup one-on-one defender and really help us in the clear game. And she's got a lot of passion and does a lot for us on the field.
Well, how about someone who's not unsung? TT Neslansky. What is she like as a person?
TT, she's an incredible human being. She is the sweetest person you will probably ever meet or talk to. She just loves being here at Rutgers. She loves her teammates. What she really cares most about is that this is a family. And from day one when I met TT, she just talked about the tight bond and the sisterhood that she wanted this team to be. And now a fifth-year senior, she is so close with the underclassmen on this team, and somebody that just really makes a whole team gel together.
I'll take your word that she's sweet, but she doesn't look it. She looks intimidating.
She does. When she gets on that field, she is on a mission, and she just loves to compete, and she goes after it. She goes hard. She's one of the fastest players out there in D1, and it's like she transforms when she puts that eye black on.
Your matchup coming up is Northwestern. You played a month ago in Evanston. What do you remember about that meeting?
Well, I was really proud of our team's performance. 3.5 quarters, we were in that game tight with Northwestern, and it really slipped away from us. So I think that gives us a lot of confidence right now heading up into the matchup. But there were clearly areas where we needed to perform better, especially on the draw. So that's been a big focus for us as we look towards the matchup Friday night.
You mentioned the draw. What would you say is the most important thing you have to do against the Cats?
Battle. I think going in with a mindset that it's going to be a battle and they're going to win draws, but we need to win draws too and play our game as a draw unit.
Let me go back personally with you. Summer of 2019, you're coaching at Penn. What do you remember about the whole process of getting hired at Rutgers?
Oh, well, it was a whirlwind, that's for sure. But I remember just being so excited. This is a job that had so much potential, and it is a job close to my heart because I'm from New Jersey. And so being able to step on campus, I remember being immediately blown away, and it felt like home, talking to all of the different people that were involved in the interview process. And especially when I got into the office with Pat Hobbs, the athletic director, it just felt natural. I could see the passion. I could feel the support and the vision they had for this program to compete on the national level, and just made me fall in love with this position.
But that was your alma mater you were leaving.
I know. It was very hard to say goodbye to Penn. I mean, Penn, I just owe so much to that experience and the mentors that I had there. But I was ready for the next step. I had been there for a while as the associate head coach, and it was time for me to make my own mark on a program. And I wanted to go somewhere that I knew had the potential to challenge and compete for championships.
All right, I'm going to see how honest you'll be with me now. You ready?
Yes.
How good were you as a player?
I would say I was a pretty good athlete. I was a midi. I think really prided myself on being a good two-way midi. So, I definitely grew a lot in college as a player.
So you, the coach, wouldn't bench you, the player, then?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Give me an idea how the Rutgers program is different now versus in 2019 when you joined.
This program right now, I mean, they're just ready to compete and they believe in each other. I think that's one of the biggest things in stepping out onto the field in every game. We have that confidence that you're stepping out for the first whistle and you trust the people to your right and your left and behind you and in front of you. And I think that goes such a long way of having that. We have each other's backs. And so I think with that also, just from where we are, we're more experienced. We have a lot of juniors and seniors that are on the field right now that are really being the leaders of this program. They started very early on. And so they have that confidence by having played the last couple of years. They know what it takes to compete and win big games.
Melissa Lehman, Rutgers head coach. Thanks for your time. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Maryland spring football game was this past weekend. Terps coming off an impressive 7-win season last year, including a Pinstripe Bowl victory. Good times in College Park these days, with summer right around the corner. Well, who better to bring in to talk about that Maryland spring game than their star quarterback, who set a whole bunch of records last year in Maryland history, Taulia Tagovailoa. Taulia, when you look back at what you did last fall, what did you do best?
I think, we made use of what happened last year. I think the best thing that happened to us is probably the bowl game. I feel like when we were in New York, just as a team, I feel like we got closer and, just working hard together and reaping the benefits that, we put in throughout the season, having a bowl game and also winning the bowl game. I think that's probably the best thing that happened.
Okay, that was a very nice answer. You're very well trained. That's exactly what you're supposed to do as a quarterback. It's not about me, it's about our team. I get it. Bravo, I'm sure Locks is very proud. I want to know about you, okay? You set all sorts of record, completions, passing yards, 300-yard games. What do you think you did the best last year?
I think, we did some good things last year. And, obviously the passing yardage, the touchdowns and stuff like that. But, I feel like it's always, a lot of things that I can work on. And I think that's what really sticks in my head the most. So, I feel like as an offense, we did pretty good. And we're looking forward to this year.
Yeah, you did do well. All right, but tell me the things that you want to work on. You said there are things you're focused on you can get better. Give me one or two.
Well, I think when you look at my stats this past year, I think the biggest thing is the turnovers. Just taking care of the football. That's kind of been always the thing, especially in the red zone. I think that's one thing I got to work on. And coach always tells me when my feet are good, that's when everything else is good. My throwing, the timing, and so just continuously working on my feet and decision making.
Okay, so what does that mean when your feet are good, and how do you work on your feet?
Just staying balanced in the pocket. Sometimes when I move, I kind of get out of balance, which makes my throwing kind of, not natural again. So I think just staying in the pocket, keeping my feet on the ground, and just, delivering the ball.
Give me an example of a pro quarterback who's good at staying balanced on their feet in the pocket.
I think a lot of quarterbacks are good. Like Russell Wilson. I like Russell Wilson. I think my brother, when he sets his feet, I think my brother's good. And, a lot of quarterbacks. But now I think a lot of quarterbacks throw off balance as well, too, like Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and guys like that. But, I'm trying to, sometimes you got to sit in the pocket like Tom Brady and just deliver the ball. So.
You mentioned something else. You want to work on turnovers, especially in the red zone. Like, I get how that's something you don't want to have. But what I don't get, Taulia, is how do you work on that? How do you practice that? I mean, that seems like a thing. I don't understand how in May you can work on that. Give me some insight.
Well, I think, I started working on it. We just had spring ball. So I think, those are times where I can continue to get better at my decision making and stuff like that. Another time is probably summer, but I think it's just continually watching film and learning from your mistakes, and sometimes it could be timing purposes, and ball placement and stuff like that. So I think that's how I kind of work on it.
But a minute ago, you brought up your brother Tua, the NFL QB. What do you undeniably do better than him? Obviously looks. That's an obvious no-brainer. You got looks down, but what else are you better than him at?
The looks. But I think, I don't know. I think a lot of my friends and family say that I'm faster than him right now. I think, but, my brother was younger. He was super fast. And I think, he got a lot of surgeries and stuff like that, so. Yeah. But he could still move now. But I think that's probably the only thing, just looks and speed.
I like that you keep bringing up looks. What about non-football stuff? Who's better at board games?
Board games, I mean, we play cards, so I think I'm better at him than cards.
Okay.
Better at him than games, like Fortnite, Madden, anything like that. And cornhole.
Cornhole, okay. What about who's better at handwriting?
Handwriting, I got the handwriting. I could write cursive.
Okay. Cooking.
Cooking. My brother, he taught me how to cook.
He taught you?
So yeah, my brother, yeah.
All right, he wins that one. Fashion sense.
You said what?
Fashion.
Fashion, I don't know. I look pretty drippy right now. Probably gonna have to go with my brother.
Okay. What about
he
facial hair?
It before me. Facial hair. Who looks better in the facial hair?
Who can grow better facial hair? You or him?
Oh, my brother.
Oh man,
he got the full. Everything.
You started out so hot there. You were winning every category, and then the last few, you just fell down, man.
Yeah, but he's older. He got the grown beard. I'm still young.
You were raised in Hawaii. What is that like?
I mean, it's different. Everything is family. Everywhere you go, you have your family with you. Obviously, the weather's different. The food is different. It's just the smooth, relaxing life out there.
What was your first real winter like for you?
My first real winter was when I moved to Alabama, and it was exciting for me and my family because my siblings never seen snow before, and we woke up one morning and we had snow on the porch and all over the car, and we kind of just played out there for like a good hour or two. So yeah, it was exciting.
That's pretty cool. Give me the best class you've taken in college so far.
Best class, football.
Wait, what?
Football class.
You have a football class?
I study more football than any other class.
Oh, yeah, no, I get that. I get that. I'm talking about, like I took a ridiculous class once, the history of baseball. All it was just talking sports for an hour once a week. Are there any fun classes that you've taken so far?
Fun classes. Well, I actually just switched my major. I'm a family science now. So I really enjoy, my classes that I go to. We talk about like life stuff, I mean, right now we're on the subject of like pregnancy and, the things that girls have to go through and even the responsibility that guys have to take on. So I feel like I really enjoy stuff like that.
What do you want to do with a family science major when you're done?
I'm still trying to figure that out. I think the biggest thing for me is just trying to help people. So whatever I can do, to help people, whether it's at churches, anything.
Well, you got time to worry about that for sure. Hey, congrats on the great season last year. Thanks for joining us. Have a fun summer, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you too.